Welcome back, friends. It's Tool Week here at Scrapbook and Cards today on our blog and our YouTube channel. This is Victoria Calvin, and I'm going to be sharing a fun project using the We Are Memory Keepers Pocket Punch Board. If you are not familiar with this tool, I highly recommend you go out and grab yourself one. This tool is designed to create pockets. It has guides on it as well as extenders and some other little elements that'll help you make really fun pockets of various sizes. There's also a bone folder that's included as well as a sizing guide and some instructions. And I think it's pretty handy that the sizing guide can be stored behind or underneath the tool. So you can see all the sizes that are available to you with this tool, and then you can refer to that whenever you're making a pocket. There's also instructions to show you how to make a pocket with a notch as well as a pocket with a flap. For today's project, I'm going to be making a pocket with a notch at the top. I want to add in some hidden journaling. Not that I want to hide the journaling, I just want more space for embellishing. So you're going to see that come up here in just a few. So let's go ahead and get started with making the pocket. I'm going to refer to the sizing guide, and the sizing guide is going to tell me exactly what size that I need to trim my paper down to depending on the size pocket I want to create. And for this project, I'm going to create a pocket that's 4¼ by 5½, which means I need to trim my paper down to 9 by 7 inches, which it tells me there in the sizing guide. Then because this is the particular size that I'm using, it's also telling me where I need to reposition my guides. One guide is lettered, the other guide is numbered. So it'll give you both of those pieces of information there in the sizing guide. Now, once you know what to trim your paper down to, you are ready to go. So I'm going to trim this down to 9 by 7 inches because that's what it says on the sizing guide. And I'm using some pattern paper from the Amy Tangerine Brave and Bold collection from American Crafts. And I am going to go ahead and use the punch board to create the pocket. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this over, make sure that my alignment guides are right where they need to be. And for this size, I need to make sure that the bottom left is positioned on the letter F and the top right is positioned on the number 3. I'm also going to refer to the instructions because sometimes when I'm using my punch boards, I have a lot of them from We Are Memory Keepers, I forget sometimes how to use them. So it's handy to have the instructions there. I'm going to go ahead and close down the blade and the little guide that comes with the blade, and notice it's a little rotating blade, and it will circle around once you pop the blade right in the guide and cut off the first notch. Then you're going to flip the paper over and repeat the same thing. And at this point, I'm just following the directions. It's telling me exactly what I need to do. I'm going to cut out the other notch, and this is going to create a flap here in just a moment. Now I'm going to pull out the bone folder that is included. I believe all of the punch boards are included with a bone folder or those that need it. I'm also showing you the guides there that you would use to crease the paper. I'm going to go ahead and extend out the arm since this is a bigger pocket. And I'm just going to align it as it's telling me in the instructions. And I'm going to use the dotted lines that are printed right on the punch board to tell me where exactly I need to line up. And I'm going to go ahead and crease the pocket flaps the way that I need it. So there's going to be a little flap there at the top. That's going to close the bottom of the pocket. And then 2 on the sides. It's going to be the 2 flaps. I'm going to go ahead and fold in, and notice here the pocket comes to life. I'm going to be using my bone folder to burnish those sides, making sure the creases are nice and crisp. And then I'm going to also bring in the bottom flap, and thus creating the pocket. Now you can use any adhesive that you want to. I'm going to use a roller adhesive, but you can also use double-sided tape and liquid adhesive to close your pocket. So now I'm going to get both of those flaps adhered together, and the way it's designed, you're going to have one flap that's slightly bigger than the other so that it can fold together. And then of course you have your bottom flap. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the outside. Some folks like to adhere it on the inside. It's really a matter of preference. I'm going to put my bone folder right back into the tool so I don't use it. Now I'm ready to finish out the pocket by adding a notch. And on the punch boards, it's going to give you guides as well as instruction on the sizing guide as to what measurement you need to make sure that your notch is centered for your pocket. So I'm just going to go ahead using those little guides there on the punch board, punch my little notch, and I am good to go. So that's how you make the little notch pocket. So of course you can use these pockets for a variety of reasons. I'm actually going to use these pockets for 2 reasons on my layout, and you'll see here in just a second. So I'm going to show you some of the elements that I'm using on this project. I've got the Amy Tangerine Bold and Beautiful collection here with the puffy stickers as well as a sticker sheet. There are some vinyl stickers that come with this collection as well as some clips, some die cuts, and I also have the stamp set that I will be using with this project. I'm going to add a little bit of accents with the stamps. I also have some 4x4 photos of me being silly one day as I was out and about. So this is kind of my official summer layout. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the background. I pulled some more coordinating pattern papers from the collection. Also trimmed down some pattern papers to serve as an anchor for the photos. I'm going to bring in the 2 pockets. So the pockets for my project are twofold. One, I'm using them as a layering element that I'm going to adhere my photos to. And notice how the pattern just pops. And of course, the size of the pocket adds a little bit more interest to that layer. Then I'm going to use the pockets to house my journaling. Now this is the perfect technique for 2 reasons. One, if you want hidden journaling, then of course you can create pockets. It can be a layered element or some type of decorative element, but also functional to house your journaling. Or if you're like me and you just like to add a bunch of stuff to your layout sometimes and you forget to leave space or you don't want to leave space for journaling, then you can create a pocket to house your journaling. Not because you want it hidden, just because you want some of the pretty things to show on your layout. So that's exactly the reason why I'm using the pockets for this layout, is because I do have these photos and of course the beautiful elements from this collection that I want to showcase. And then I do have a lot of journaling that I want to do. So now I have space to put it there. And of course it's easy to retrieve the journaling. You just slip your hand right inside that page protector that this layout once will be in or will eventually be in, and then pull out the journaling. And I'll create some tags for that here in just a few. All right, so now I'm going to work on the title, which says Summer Ready, and I'm using some thickers from the collection as well. I'm alternating the colors and as well as bouncing the letters up and down just to add a little bit of fun and whimsy to the layout, because this is a fun layout about getting ready for the summertime. Next up, I'm going to bring over some die cuts as well as the vinyl stickers and some other elements from the collection. I'm just going to create some small clusters. Now I'm being careful at the top cluster because I want to add a tag to that pocket there on the right hand side. So I'm making sure that whatever layered elements that I have are going to go on top of the photo, not necessarily on top of the tag, because I don't want anything to impede the opening of that tag. So I'm shopping around a few elements there on the layout, trying to decide where I want things to go. I want to use that little hand that says high five, but unfortunately it's not going to make it on the layout. Instead, I'm going to use this butterfly. I've got some circles and such. There are some cut apart sheets in this collection, so I did cut out some labels and some other little die cut elements. I'm also using some foam elements. That little, the label that says True Story is a foam element. There are some flowers as well as another label that says Love Yourself. So I'm going to get all those clustered up. I want to add a little bit more black to the layout. So I'm going to reach for the stamp set. And I'm just going to add a little bit of stamping to some of the elements, the little die cut elements that I cut out from the cut apart sheet. This is a great way to customize your embellishments, to add a little bit of accent of stamping. This is also a really good entry level way of adding stamping to your layout. If you're a little nervous about that, you can add a little bit to your die cuts and such and kind of jazz them up. I'm also going to grab this little grid stamp here. Just going to add a little bit of texture there to that die cut. Looks perfect. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the circle die cut, and I'll do the same thing to the top die cut. I always like to make sure that I add a tiny bit of stamping on my layouts, whether it's in my titles or my embellishing, just so I can get those stamps used and to add another decorative element. All right, one last time of stamping, and I did get a tiny bit of an ink smudge, but never fear. Once I get that layered, I am going to use my sand eraser just to erase that ink. That's a really awesome tool to have in your stash. If you don't have a sand eraser, you can get at any arts and crafts store. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and layer those labels, and eventually I will put the date at the top. Now I'm ready to adhere everything down. I have a little die cut label on one of the vinyl stickers, and I didn't realize that it had a backing. I didn't peel it off. I just adhered it right to the layout, but it'll be just fine. I'm going to go ahead and adhere the other elements, popping some of them up with a little bit of foam for interest. I'm going to do that here with the butterfly. That's also another vinyl sticker that I forgot had a sticker backer on it. And I just added adhesive to it, and that's quite all right too. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the butterfly. Still trying to make sure that those pockets are very present on the layout, so I'm not covering them up too much, but not only are they decorative, but they're going to be super functional too. I want to make sure that I have a little bit of foam behind this little foam sticker here, this phrase sticker that says True Story, so that can stay up to the height of the photos. I'm going to go ahead and turn my attention to this top cluster. Again, being very careful not to block off the opening of the pocket, which I successfully avoid. I'm going to go ahead and get the sticker or the die cuts layered up and adhered, as well as that label that says love yourself. Nice pop of orange there at the top. I'm loving all these beautiful colors in this collection. I'm going to add one small little accent to the page, a little arrow. And then there's a phrase sticker up top that I added that says you got this. And then I'm going to add another clip. Well, maybe I'm going to add more than a couple finishing touches. So I added the phrase label at the top. I added the little arrow. There's a leaf there at the top with a flower, the top right, and now I'm going to add a clip. This little heart clip. I thought I was going to add it to the photo, but instead I added it to the pocket, and that pocket opening is still available to me for the journaling. So all I did for the journaling was take scrap pieces of white paper, fashion those into a tag to the size of my pockets, slightly smaller so they'll fit inside. Again, my pockets are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to add a little bit of black and white twine from American Crafts. Again, adding a little bit of that black and white element with all those really beautiful bold colors is very grounding. And what I will do later is either I will type or handwrite my journaling on both of these tags, because apparently I have a lot to say for this layout. I added a tiny bit of adhesive to the back of the tag so it can hold the twine in place. And I also created enforcers using another We Are Memory Keepers tool, which is the tag enforcer tool. So if you're creating tags, you can create the little bits that go around the openings to reinforce your holes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stick those right into the pocket. They fit perfectly and they look great. So whenever I want to read the journaling, I can just slip my hand in the page protector where this layout will live one day and just slip out the journaling. And with that, my layout is complete. I hope you are inspired. If you have the We Are Memory Keepers pocket punch board tool, to use it, or if not, maybe you need to go grab one if you're inspired to make a layout like this or to make tags for all your projects. Make sure you leave a comment below, like and subscribe here on Scrapbook and Cards Today. Make sure you check out this project on the blog, and we'll see you guys next time.